Who next for Blackburn Rovers? Welcome back to our Uncle Jack Walks. Ismael is out the door, mutual consent. Who next? We're looking at the bookies odds with Tom, Harry, and Mark on this week's episode. Hope you're well. We'll look briefly back at that whole game, and of course, we're looking ahead to a massive week of fixtures. Sheffield Wednesday to come, and 3 points desperately needed. But it's the manager where we start with Tom. Walking out that whole game. Did you change your mind from last week and think he's got to go now?
Well, I was thinking literally this morning that tomorrow night was make or break for him, because we can't keep saying the same thing every single week. It's so frustrating, and it's actually really quite sad what's happened with the club and the form. We're difficult to play against, but easy to beat, if you know what I mean, if that makes sense, because we create chances, we just haven't got the players to score. There's no real direction with the management. The players seem at sixes and sevens. I watched the game with my dad, and we just called it early on. Blackburn were in cruise control. We were playing really well, and we were comfortable for the majority of the game. And I can't really remember Toff doing anything in goal. But the longer the game went on at 0-0, you just knew. We've seen it so many times. You just knew it was going to happen. And then when that goal went in, it was so demoralising. And I really felt for the players, because you can't really fault their work rate and their efforts. And we've had some rotten luck this season. We really have. But now the gap is starting to form now, and we're 3 points off safety. And before we had kind of a cushion of a few games in hand on other teams. And if we could just pull a couple of results together, we drag West Brom right into it. But because we're so awful and we've won like one game in 15 or two in the last 20, everyone around us seems to get like a get out of jail free card because we're their bankers that won't get a result. So I think change had to happen. I think it was the right time. But I mean, Ismael never really lasts more than 10 months to a year in any job. So it wasn't really going to be a long-term project anyway to start with. I think getting the next person in is going to be really, really important. Yesterday, before this all news came out, and I was thinking, get Tony Mowbray in for the nostalgic factor, but I don't think Tony Mowbray is the right person for the job. I think we need to be looking more long term and get the right man in rather than a quick short term fix, because something massively has got to change. And I'm sure we'll discuss Pasha and all the ongoings behind the scenes at Rovers at some point. But yeah, I think in order for us to stay in this division, we had to make a change, and the change, was right, I think, today.
Cheers for that, Tom. Coming up then on this week's episode, we're getting into the A to Z of Rovers with the letter N. We're choosing our worst ever Rovers manager, topical, of course, as well. We're looking at the bookies odds, and we're also talking about why fans have turned against Todd Cantwell. Lots of abuse for him online this weekend. We'll get into all of that a little bit later on. Let's focus on the main news then, Harry. Your take on it, please. I mean, Aaron says, yeah, thank goodness for that. Fraud is gone. Pasha and Rudy to follow next, please, with the Venkies close behind. Ben says, hallelujah, the clown has finally gone. It may be too late, but let's hope not. Now bring in someone who's got a clue what they're doing, who's going to whip this team into shape and get the best out of them. Damien Duff is still my first choice. What have you made, Harry, of the last 24, 48 hours?
I think those comments are a little harsh. I mean, I'm not Ismael's biggest fan whatsoever, but he was dealt a bad set of cards. He that was not an easy job to come into, given the fact that two managers have just walked away from it, and sort of no one wanted that job anyway, and the amount of injuries and whatever had. I don't think he's entirely to blame, but exactly what Tom said. If you're going to win one game out of 15 or whatever it is, and you find yourself down there, it's only a matter of time before you have to make a change. And whether that was due to the players we had available or not, you can't carry on that form, because you will just drop like a stone, you will sink. And I actually didn't think we were that bad against Hull. I think we just lacked a bit of edge in the final third. But it was a massive game to lose, not only because we played quite well and still lost, but because teams around us picked up points, and that makes the game on the Sheffield Wednesday game a massive game now. There's no excuses. That's got to be won. So I think maybe the decision we made at the right time to a bit of a positive mood now that he's gone going into that game. In terms of replacement, I mean, the comment about Damien Duff, I think that's mad. I think Damien Duff would be a mad appointment. I get that he was an ex-player and he was good for us, but he won the league in Ireland. I mean, the difference in quality between the Irish Premiership and the Championship is night and day. I mean, I can't. Maybe I'm a romantic and maybe I've gone mad, but there's only one answer for who can come in, and that's Tony Mowbray. Bring Tony Mowbray back. Let him finish what he'd done. Give him a chance. I don't see anyone else on that list that really does anything for me. I'm really not that interested by anyone else, but I'm caught up in the headline. Give me Tony Mowbray back till the end of the season, because not only would that be great, because I think he's a good manager, but that would do. I think that would do wonders for the fan base. There's that sort of that bit of connectivity back, a bit of like, oh, we've got our man back, a man that we can get behind. That was a problem I felt with Ismael. He was not very a likable character. You could never really sort of get behind that guy the same way as you could with John Eustace or Tony Mowbray. I think it makes perfect sense to bring him back. The only thing I wonder is, would he come after the way we treated him towards the end of his tenure? Yeah. Would he bother back?
Yeah.
I'd love him to come back. I think give it Mowbray to the end of the season. Let him do his magic.
We'll jump into that in a second. Mark, just one more point on this one, which has been raised by a few. Adam says, can I just point out, please, it's not mutual consent. You've actually sacked him after appointing the wrong man in the first place, and you've waited until the afternoon of the transfer deadline day to do it, so you have an excuse not to buy any more players today. The mutual consent thing smacks of, I don't know, we can't say he's walked, because that would just be 3 managers in a row that have walked away from this club, and we can't say we've sacked him because, I don't know why they can't say they sacked him. It's a strange term. What do you expect really happened and gone on there?
I think he's been sacked. I think after Saturday, he looked a resigned man in his post-match comments, and you could just feel around the ground leaving the game, and both Harry and Tom have made excellent points. And I was looking at the body language of the players walking off on Saturday, and because, like the lads have said here, we played so well, probably the best we've played in a while, and it felt like we're trying everything here and nothing's coming off. And they just look completely dejected, like nothing's working here. So I do think he's been sacked. I think it's so Blackburn Rovers, isn't it, to do it on transfer deadline day? It just completely sums us up. But yeah, we're going into a massive game against Sheffield Wednesday, and I think Ismael had run out of ideas. I don't think he can lift these players anymore. So it's probably the right move that he is removed. And as I said, the players just need a lift from anywhere. So yeah, he's been sacked for sure, I think. But it's just, I think we've had a manager now leaving in February in the last 3 years, haven't we? It was Eustace last February. Thomason the 2 years ago. 12 managers in 15 years. We just don't seem to get any stability whatsoever at the club, and we've all mentioned in the past that the problems are much higher up at the football club, and they always will be. So, yes, Ismael going is the right thing, but it's just papering over the cracks, and they've got to get it right now. Whoever they bring in now, 3 months, we've got to get it right. But you just don't seem to trust anything that's going on at the football club nowadays. So who knows how this turns out now?
Yeah, it was echoed by a lot of people. Gary says, about time going nowhere. Rudy or the door next. Rudy through the door next, followed by the COO, appoint a reliable CEO to run the club. communicate to bring David Lowe back, which he did all right, didn't he?
Yeah.
So it's not a bad show. Right, let's look at the official odds then, shall we? Let's have a look at them. You're right. So David Wagner, Slavan Bilic, Tony Mowbray, and Damien Duff are the top four in the current runnings. Tom, of those four names, who would you prefer to be on the hot seat for the weekend, if preferable?
Yeah, I mean, Harry made some good points there, and I think the feel good factor for Tony Mowbray would be great to get the fans back on side. But I don't think we should go backwards. In all honesty, I think Mowbray had his time. He had 5 great years there, but towards the end of his regime, you can almost look at that with like rose-tinted glasses, and it got very stale. And a lot of the fan base were not happy towards the very end. He did wonders getting us out of League One. Whether or not he has the drive and the passion to even want to take the job, because I know Sky Sports almost ruled him out earlier today, but I don't know. Slaven Bilic, I liked him. I like his passion, but he reminds me of Ismael in his kind of style, his appearance, how his teams play. I think it'd almost be like for like getting someone like Bilic in. So I don't really see how that's going to change anything. Harry's spot on. I mean, I love Damien Duff as a child growing up. He's one of my favorite players to play for Rovers. But massively inexperienced. He would get the fans back on side, and it could be, you've seen in the Premier League now they're getting these players in, ex-pros that are working wonders in their new teams, but I don't think Duff is ready. Maybe a number 2 coming in. Which doesn't leave David Wagner. He has got promotion before. He's done well at Norwich. But it's almost like the best of a bad bunch in a way, because we needed to change something, but none of them really spark any major enthusiasm in me that they're going to set the world alight. But we've got to try something. But yeah, I don't think Bilic is the right fit. It's tough. I mean, do you go with a curveball and go left field with somebody? I don't know, but I think it's someone that's got to know the league, know the division, and know how to get a team out of the weeds that we're in at the moment, because the players, and we seem to be buying so many foreigners who don't know the league, don't really know what it's all about. We need someone who can come in and steady the ship and try and instill some passion and some fight in the team, because the last thing we want to do is go down with a whimper. And my biggest fear is that if we do go down, I don't think we're going to be able to cherry pick the best players from League One to come and play for us next season. And it will not be, we're not going to have any Charlie Mulgrews and Lenahans and David Reyes and Bradley Dax playing for us in League One. It's going to be an uphill struggle, and we could really get sucked in and end up in free fall if we do it good down again.
Yeah. I mean, I have to keep reminding yourself, this is a team that finished 5th last season, 5th. Here we are in 22nd. So there's potential there, isn't it? This is a really good club for anyone to manage. Just a bad spell at the moment. Right, let's switch gears, Harry, a little bit now and talk about something else which has perplexed me a little bit. Now, it's perplexed me because obviously I'm a neutral. I don't watch every single minute of Rovers games. Hopefully you can shed some light on there. Jack says, hopefully I never have to watch Todd Cantwell or Sean McLaughlin play for this club again. Aaron says, the first thing the new gaffer needs to do is to take the armband away from Cantwell and give it to Scotty when he's back. It wasn't so long ago that we were on here saying, yeah, Todd Cantwell is the Messiah. What's happened?
Well, firstly, I want to say that I get the criticism, but I'm surprised the criticism came after the game against Hull, because I actually didn't think it was one of his worst games. The thing about Todd Cantwell is the way we play relies on Todd Cantwell. If he has a good game, we have a good game. And the whole, he makes everything tick. But if he's off the pace, then we just crumble. And I really can't work out what it is with him at times. I don't know if it's sort of attitude, temperament, if he doesn't want to be there. But sometimes for a player that everyone in the league knows how technically good he can be, just looks so average. Like simple passes, he'll just misplace completely. And he'll sort of disappear out of the game, come off after 70 minutes, and you're like, oh, kind of forgot he was playing. And it's so frustrating because you know how good he can be. And he started the season in electric form. He was really good. And it's this sort of thing is he can't play a consistent run of games. He seems to be in one week, out the next week, seems to show up for the home games, be injured when we play away. It's really difficult to work out what the issue is with him. If he's unhappy and he doesn't want to be there anymore, that kind of looks like what it might be. But it's baffling. It really is confusing because one week he can look like a world beater, but we haven't seen that Todd Cantwell in a while. And he shows glimpses of it every now and then with a nice little turn, and he'll beat a man and play a nice pass. But when you're down where we are, you don't want that kind of player. He's kind of a little bit of a luxury, maybe. You want people who are going to sort of dig deep and get you out of this hole and provide you with important moments to nab you a goal or create a game-winning pass. And Cantwell just seems to be sort of going through the motions and just being a little bit of a passenger at times. And I think you've got other players around in that position where Musa Baraji and Rio Marishta, who play a similar position to him and play a similar kind of play, but are offering so much more than us, than Cantwell is, which is frustrating because we know how much Cantwell can offer when he's on his game, but something's not right there at the minute, and I can't work out what it is.
Mark?
Perfectly summed up by Harry. That I think I agree. I think I like Todd Cantwell as a footballer, and obviously we have seen we've seen patches of him in the past produce. He's not a leader. He's definitely not a leader. He shouldn't be a captain. We're in a dogfight. We're in a massive relegation battle. He's not the man to lead us. I mean, we look back at the captains we've had in the past, going back to obviously like Lewis Travis, proper warrior, proper leader, would roll his sleeves up. Cantwell's not that player. I don't think he necessarily motivates the players around him. I mean, I don't know. We're not behind the scenes. We don't see what goes on at the training ground. But I totally agree. I find him extremely frustrating, and I have done over the last few weeks. He'll be on the ground and he'll be, trying to get free kicks. Just get on with it. Roll your sleeves up, dig deep, lead the team. You're the captain. You just don't see it. He's a very, very frustrating player. Possibly, like Harry said, maybe he's thinking, well, it's all right. I'm not going to be here anyway longer term. I probably won't be here next season, regardless of what league we're playing in. So you don't know what he's thinking, but you can kind of see now with the Todd Cantwell when he was, being rated as a £15 million player not so long ago. He's had all the potential, but there's a reason why he's not kicked on in his career, and I think obviously we're seeing that now at Rovers with him.
Baffling. It's such like you said, such potential. Maybe a new manager can bring out the best back in him. Right, fingers crossed. Then we've got 2 games this week. We can definitely bring 3 points home against Sheffield Wednesday. Norwich. Not too sure about that one. They're in good form, but it's definitely 6-pointer, of course, isn't it? As well. Fingers crossed. Join us for that next week. Thank you for all the comments on last week's video as well. Absolutely amazing to read all your comments. We do read all of them as well. So massively, we're growing a lovely little community here. If you haven't yet subbed yet, please press the subscribe button. We're hoping to grow this. To be one of the quickest growing Blackburn Rovers podcasts of the internet. Right, let's go into lighter topics then, shall we? January Player of the Month, should we just skip that? Any one person got any one suggestion?
I think Lewis Miller. He's a bit of a standout for me. Just because his work rate, and I think he tries hard for the team, and he, like what you said, Mark. He's a sort of bloke who you think you can rely on to put a shift in and roll his sleeves up and have a go.
I think George Pratt as well. Earlier this month, I think obviously being chucked in at the deep end, and not easy the way we're playing. So I think he deserves a mention as well. But yeah, we're struggling for an actual player of the month. I think.
I think Tronstad's always a safe answer. He's one of them that's never. He's always 7s out of 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Last week we were talking about best managers for Rovers. This week we're talking about the worst in terms of the style of play. Harry, who would you say has been the worst in terms of the football that's been brought to Ewood Park?
How long have you got?
Is it Valerian Ismael? I don't know.
He's up there.
He's got a shout for it. It's between him. It's between him and Owen Coyle for me, I think. I don't really remember Steve Keane.
Oh, so don't even mention that bloke's name.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
So I maybe it's recency bias, but maybe it is Valerian Ismael. I mean, I just kind of remember when he came in, kind of expecting something and just not really delivering upon that. We sort of talked about this sort of high press, counter-attacking football, and you'd be hard pressed to sort of suggest what Valerian Ismael Blackburn Rovers team plays like. Like all the other managers before him, you kind of knew they had a style, and Eustace wasn't pretty to watch at times, but he'd get results, and we knew the style of football he would play. Valerian Ismael, I'm not really sure what he was. He was kind of a sort of halfway house between a lot of things. And when you kind of don't commit either way and you just kind of become stuck in the middle, you kind of don't have a style, and you become easy to beat. So maybe that's recency bias, but I think Ishmael's out.
Okay. Anybody got any other suggestions?
I think Owen Coyle, like Harry said as well. I think, like I said, we've had 12 managers in 15 years, so a lot of those managers haven't lasted long. Edinburgh, Michael Appleton, if we're going back to like 10 years ago, they were all very poor managers. Yeah, we've had some really poor managers. A lot to forget.
Steve Keane's got to be there, because he was just an all-round just dreadful manager. Some of the games we watched under that bloke in his management tactics were just shocking. And I look back at some of those games, and we had a half decent team back then, and he was so negative. And it was the lead. We'd sit back and I can remember it was yesterday, 2011, Sunderland away, and we're cruising, winning 1-0. And he decides after half an hour, 1-0 up, and I think Simon Vucevic scored. And then we sit back for an hour, and I can get angry now thinking about it. I was fuming at the time. And then we lost the game 2-1, and that sums up Steve Keane for me. That idiot was in charge. Inept manager, no tactics, was in a bigger job over his head, usurped Sam Allardyce. For me, Coyle, awful. Ismael, awful, but Steve Keane is just next level, and I think he's always going to get the vote from me as our worst manager ever.
I think the one thing all these managers have got in common, it's all been under the Venky's era as well.
Yeah.
So, tells you everything.
Yeah, and I don't think any of them have been in jobs, have they? They don't go and pay compensation, the Venky's, to go and grab the best people. Brilliant, right. Quick one on the A to Z then. Anybody got anything for N, please, as we roll on to the second half of the alphabet? Anything?
Player-wise, one of my favourite players at Ewood played under Allardyce. Fantastic team we had. Ryan Nelson, still one of my favourite players. We've just been talking about warriors and leaders and fighters. Yeah. How we could have, if we had somebody like him now in our team. But yeah, he's one of my all-time favourite players at Rovers.
Super.
Yeah. Lucas Neal as well, I think. Another warrior at the back.
Yeah,
we could do those sort of players now, couldn't we?
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Sorry, quick shout for Mike Newell. I mean, I never saw him.
Oh, yeah.
He scored the penalty to take us up, and then scored a hat-trick in Europe. It was always sort of decent player for us, I think.
Was that Rosenberg he scored a hat-trick against?
He did, yeah.
Champions
4-1,
League?
yeah.
Yeah.
Harry always comes up with like good at the end. Behind the QP, and then Harry just comes in at back post, and you're like, But yeah, great shout.
I want to give a Nelson. Nelson would be my shout, personally.
Yeah. Top player.
Nelson goes in. Next week, they're going to need some help with O. We're going to let them put in overhead kicks. If you can remember a Rovers bicycle kick from any player, doesn't need to begin with O, any era, any time, put it in the comments. We'll read some of these out next week because they're going to struggle, I think, with the letter O. We'll find a decent.
I've got one already.
Anyway. Oh, all right, okay, Mr. Wikipedia. Right, we'll catch up with you next week. Hopefully, 6 points in the bag from beating Wednesday and from Carrow Road as well. Fingers crossed. Catch you then. Thank you very much for watching.